Something strange is going on in Boston as we receive a report. Marcus Smart spoke out about his bittersweet reunion, but not just that. Something absolutely wild as we break down why Celtic superstar Jaylen Brown was not in attendance at practice yesterday. We also look at some injury updates ahead of tonight's game versus the Chicago Bulls and how will this affect Joe Mazzulla's offense as he gears up to take on this team twice in 3 nights. We'll be breaking down all that, and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, it is a long video today, so we're going to start off with those new pre-game injury updates as those came out yesterday before the contest has obviously begun tonight when the Celtics take on the Chicago Bulls. And if we want to look at these injury updates, we can see that there are 3 Celtics on here that are questionable. Sam Hauser with lower back spasms, Kristaps Porziņģis with his right heel contusion, and Xavier Tillman with an illness non-COVID related. And these are things that the Celtics have to look at. Like I mentioned, the Celtics are taking on the Chicago Bulls, and if you missed the live stream, we broke down that versus the Chicago Bulls team, Nikola Vucevic is going to be a big problem, and the Celtics are going to have to utilize their bigs. They obviously rested Al Horford in their last contest, so he's obviously going to be ready to go. But with Porzingis getting with this heel injury in their last contest versus Washington, they might be extra cautious going into this game. We've had some updates with Porzingis. He was practicing yesterday, getting into some shooting, was doing some weightlifting, so he is still a game time decision. But I would keep an eye on Porzingis as he's a player that said even when he got injured on Sunday night that this injury shouldn't set him back and that he should be ready to go for the next game. Sam Hauser has dealt with these lower back spasms throughout the entirety of the season. He has missed some games, so if he is out for tonight's contest, I don't expect it to be anything long term. I do expect it to just be some managing things by the Celtics. And looking at Xavier Tillman, unfortunately, he has suffered an illness. Now, I'm hoping Xavier Tillman can be okay. He hasn't really gotten that much love from the Celtics, but versus a Chicago Bulls team, he could be utilized against some of these other bigs going up against and battling against some of those bigger guys in Nikola Vucevic, Jalen Smith. I do think he is a solid matchup against those guys. And we have seen Tillman work against the Chicago Bulls even last season. So I do think that if Tillman is ready to go, he should be someone that could be called off the bench for some sporadic minutes, maybe someone to keep an eye on for tonight's contest. But if he is not ready to go, we obviously will know. But I wanted to give those updates for you guys. Like I said, I'm predicting that Porzingis is going to play. I'll say that Hauser probably is going to sit out, and I'll say Tillman's going to be ready to go. But let's see, and let's see those evaluations. But let's get into the next part of the video here as well, which is this is absolutely wild to be breaking down and talking about. As like I mentioned in the introduction, a Celtics star player missed practice yesterday due to some crazy things going on in Boston, and this is just can't not be happening and just wild that I have to break this down. But if we want to look at this, courtesy of Steve Burton from WBZ, we can see that sources have confirmed to WC Sports Radio that the Celtics star Jaylen Brown missed practice this last week to be with his mother after a break-in in her home in Wellesley. The latest on WBZ News at 11, which is just crazy to hear to break down. Jaylen Brown having to miss practice, obviously, to deal with that. The Celtics also released a statement here as well, which was retweeted by Bobby Manning, where it said the safety of Celtics players, families, and staff to all is all the utmost importance to us. We are aware of the recent incident and we are working with authorities. The team will have no further comment at this time. And that's respectable. I don't expect them obviously to release this information for it to become public, but it's just crazy to hear that obviously in our hometown, not in Boston, but in Wellesley, kind of close to Boston, Celtics superstar Jaylen Brown's mom's house is getting broken into, and that's just sad ultimately in the way of life. And I think that's absolutely disrespectful how to treat players. I know that they make a lot of money, but they put on for your city. They put on for everything that you do. They are the reason why you get to enjoy sports, and you're going to rob them like that. Just absolutely crazy to me and disrespectful in all right regards. I'm hoping for Jaylen Brown and his mom that everything is okay. I don't really want to talk about this any really more going into detail, but I do wanted to just kind of preface this for all of you guys to know that this news did happen, but it is absolutely wild that this is going on, and it should not be happening in our city. I'm glad that the Celtics are obviously keeping it at a private closed door, obviously going to work with the authorities, get something figured out. They will figure stuff out, and that will be the case that needs to be solved, and everything will be handled, and I'm happy that that's okay, but just crazy to see that this could be happening in our city. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section about that. And lastly, let's get into the Marcus Smart news. As we wish him the best. Personally, I wish Marcus the best. He was one of my favorite players on this Celtics team. But in his recent article here, with reporter Mark Medina, I believe. I want to get that right. Yes, Mark Medina. Marcus Smart reveals John Morant's secret to taking a leap this year and also goes in a bittersweet reunion with the Celtics and more in an exclusive. And this was published by Sportskeeda. And we're going to dive into this article now. We're not going to look at much at the Grizzlies side of things. We're just going to be looking at what Marcus had to say about the Celtics. But if we want to look at what he had to say, they asked him, what stuck with you during your reunion in Boston the other day when he was brought back just last week or 2 weeks ago? He said it was all love, the love and respect that is shown and given from both sides. With myself, the fans in the city is always there. I was a 19-year-old kid when I went to Boston and left as a 28-year-old man, so it definitely has a place in my heart for them, for a young kid, to them watching me grow and things like that. It was definitely a bittersweet feeling. And I agree for Marcus. Obviously, it's very difficult to obviously succumb with the fact that he was traded and the Celtics did win a championship. But for someone who did grow up in this city, drafted at 19, drafted with a top 10 pick in the NBA draft, a player that the Celtics did believe in, had promise in, didn't reluctant to move off of him for multiple years. He has to feel some sort of attachment to the city. Like I said, he grew up in it, and it's just great to see that obviously the fans were able to honor him in that moment as well when he was brought back. I know he was brought back last year and he was injured, but it was good to see him be able to play on the parquet once again. They asked Marcus, how so was it bittersweet? Marcus says, you've done so much work for a long time with a great group of guys, and you build a relationship. You become brothers and more than just basketball players and teammates and colleagues. To go through the battles and struggles that you went through to come up real close in the 22 finals and think that you're going to have another chance and opportunity to try again and then not be able to, and for those guys to get what you ultimately were they working with those guys is a bittersweet feeling. And I agree with Marcus. Like I said, they were right at that hump in the NBA Finals going up against the Golden State Warriors team, and they fell short due to a lack of inexperience, not having enough role or bench players that could step up in roles for the Celtics as the roster was getting shrinking down. They were believing in some younger players like Hauser and Pritchard who weren't ready to step up for that moment yet. And unfortunately, Marcus was a casualty of the Celtics going all into winning a championship. But like I said, he's still able to come back to Boston in the future, and there's still possibilities of him winning a championship in the NBA on another team. So I don't think that is obviously out the window for Marcus. But obviously, it's a hurtful feeling watching the team that you put your blood, heart, and soul into multiple years, risking your body, diving for loose balls, making those hustle plays, and they just replace you and then they go and win a championship. I don't blame him on that. We want to get into some more details about Marcus. Obviously, Jayson Tatum and Joe Mazzulla made it clear that you are a part of laying down the foundation before the 2024 title run, which he was the fundamental piece for the Celtics for multiple years, as we all know. What does it mean to you that they are at least recognizing you, that you played a part in getting to where you at? Well, Marcus says it feels good, but at the end of the day, when I'm all done playing, that recognition isn't going to mean anything. Unfortunately, that's another bittersweet thing. It's cool to say you built the foundation, but at the end of the day, they're only going to remember who was raising that trophy. And it is what it is. That's how life goes. One door shuts and another door opens. I thank God for the opportunity to still be here. And at the end of the day, I'm still able to do what I love to do. I still have the opportunity to have a chance. And that's all you can ask for. So I thank God every single day. And I think that is one of the key things to take from this is that Marcus is very appreciative of his time with Boston, with the fans, with everybody here. And I think Boston is very resemblant in that. Well, obviously welcoming him home back when he obviously played twice here since he has been traded. But not only that, just the amount of appreciation that I've seen from Celtics fans over on social media, over Marcus Smart, even when they won the championship, just disappointed that he couldn't get one, including myself. And I think that is what is key to remember here is that even though Marcus doesn't feel like obviously he got over that hump, he's going to be remembered as an NBA Celtic, as a Boston Celtic. In our hearts, the people that grew up watching the Celtics at that time will remember Marcus Smart as one of those names, speaking those great stories of how he was such an effective defender to their kids and grandchildren. And I know I'm going to be one of those people. So it's great to see. It's going to be nice to hear about that. And I hope Marcus's story can be shared in Boston. And then they asked him, what are the moments you remember most with your time and your family? He said, that was it. Being with them, being able to have my son there from my time in Boston with being to have a kid, with being a kid to having a kid now and being able to bring him back to create these moments where he's able to understand what was going on and see where he's understand who his dad is and the impact that he had. I think that's more than anything, and I take that and I look forward to that, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity. And like I said, Marcus is just ultimately happy that he was able to stay in Boston, have a city embrace him, and make him the man that he was. Ultimately disappointed that he wasn't able to win a championship, but hopefully, luckily, like he said, we'll be able to go into that quest in the future. And I believe Marcus Smart will have a chance, as there are some teams that are still interested in Marcus Smart from the Memphis Grizzlies in trade. And if the Grizzlies don't win the championship this year, or if they do look to move off of him, I think that a contending team will definitely be looking to acquire Marcus for his defensive values. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I said, we went over a multitude of topics today. Obviously, went over Marcus Smart's bittersweet reunion with Boston. We went over Jaylen Brown's mom's house getting broken into, and we also went over some Celtics injury updates. Let me know what you guys ultimately think down below in the comment section, how you guys are feeling about this team. Like I said, Celtics are on tonight, taking on the Bulls. We will have a post-game video for you guys following the game, going over everything that broke down. So if you want to check that, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you are still at this point in the video and you guys are here, if you want to join the people that are watching these videos every single day, hit the subscribe button, leave that 75%, come and join the 24% of us over on Celtics Digest, showing their support as we chase our goal for 6,000 subscribers by the end of the new year. But without further ado, I'm signing off, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics. Peace out, everyone.